I loved all the overhead shots. We could really see the synchronization of the dancers, and the full picture with those shots. Um, I liked that a lot of the times they were dancing to a clock ticking, sort of going with that theme of time and the passage of time. It almost felt like it was all very repetitive, even, as the days went on, they were doing the same thing over and over and over again. Um, and then we had those chapter titles where it went from day one to day 100 and something, and they were doing the same sort of dance until eventually everyone became almost apathetic seeming, with them just sort of sitting frozen in their chairs until eventually everybody leaves one by one, which I thought was very interesting. And it made me think about what this film is saying about time and the passage of time, and maybe people becoming apathetic to the repetitiveness of life. Oh my goodness.
There's even this moment that I thought was very visually dynamic where it seems like everyone's waiting, or they're passing time in silence. And I just thought, oh, this is such an interesting visual representation of time. We think of time, we think of clocks, we think of the sounds associated with the passing of time, but we don't always think that the passing of time sometimes is just those quiet moments where you're waiting. So I thought that was very interesting.
Really love the sound effects, the whole theme of time, the effect of the dancers being in a clock formation and seeing that overhead was a really cool shot. And just like the sound of the clock too. And then the visual of the description of, what's happening sort of daily and yearly. And then having the someday pop up, and then everybody was kind of just sitting there looking bored. I feel like it's us, a representation of us saying, someday we'll do this or someday we'll do that. And then you see the overhead again and time is sort of dissipating and the clock disappears.
I love seeing the talented dancers, often in sync, move around and cast shadows. The fast camera work and editing were brilliant, and the idea to film this in a big grassy field with simple chairs provided the dancers with lots of freedom. I really liked the discordant music and the loud clock ticking sounds, which worked really well for the theme.
I enjoyed the cinematic approach to capturing the performances as well. I thought it gave the piece a sort of narrative feel and let it like reflect a sense of range within their performance. I thought was unexpected. Obviously, excuse me, the drone shots up above I thought had a sort of both visual and thematic approach to the concept of time. It was sort of a sundial almost aesthetic. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, from above at least, but I thought it reflected a good, interesting interplay between light and dark in that sense. And I thought the performance sort of reflected a narrative form that I thought was interesting over the course of the runtime, especially since it was done in quite a short period of time. I believe only 5 minutes for the performance. I thought it had a good reflection of the group's connection with each other. So I thought it was easy to become impressed by it and really easy to get into the performance because of that.
Fun and interesting conceptually, but I think it was also really, really well done technically as well. There's a lot of fun formations that you do throughout this piece that are really, really interesting. Different ways that we see time and process time through movement, and then also with labeling today, tomorrow, someday. I think it's just really interesting. It's a interesting way to look at time and the passage of time, and bringing that to a front through movement.